You see, someone has been deceiving you. Who is it? BlackRock. Since so many people are baffled and wondering what the hell is going on with BlackRock and XRP, I really believe that we need to get started on this right away. What strategy they have here? We will explain everything to you. We must first discuss the fact that the case has been completed. We learned that both parties filed a combined denial of the appeals on August 7th. Officially, it's over. So this is what we have. This nearly 5-year legal ordeal has finally come to an end with the SEC and Ripple filing a joint rejection of their appeals. And now everyone is saying, that's it, in a really frantic manner. BlackRock is going to submit an application for an XRP ETF. The odds are astronomically increasing. Take a look at this. The likelihood of approving a Ripple ETF has increased to around 90%. And believe it or not, that's from even Bitcoin maximalist news site, Bitcoin.com reports. Holy crap, look at these XRP ETF odds hitting 90%. The worst part though is that Polymarket reveals a huge 20-point rise in ETF confidence in only one day on August 7th, immediately after Ripple and the SEC decided to put an end to this whole debacle. People are speculating about whether this is Ripple's big break. And to be honest, nobody can figure out what will happen next. We've been obsessed with this litigation for 5 years really. We couldn't stop wondering if Ripple would prevail. When it was first disclosed, everyone was terrified, believing that Ripple would be destroyed and XRP would be killed. I can still clearly recall that moment. We then began to question what sort of chaos this would really cause once a few weeks and months had passed. We now understand the exact havoc it brought about in 2021. Look, during that entire bull run, it essentially crippled XRP, right? The problem is that we truly lost out on a lot more than that. I'm referring to things we should have been seeing all along, like Ripple's growth in the US and the domestic adoption of XRP. Because of the entire SEC fiasco, a great deal has been going on behind the scenes that we were never able to witness. Man, now that the litigation is finally over, we're examining every detail, adoption by institutions, collaborations, you name it. However, ETFs and XRP's overall market development have to be the top priorities for everyone. Paul Barron is stating, XRP ETF watch, why 2025 could be the year, which is exactly what we XRP holders are keeping a close eye on. The figures are honest. Take a look. Following the SEC settlement, the chances of the XRP ETF being approved on Polymarket increased from 70% to 90% plus. And this is the reason why everyone is so excited about it. First of all, the 4-year SEC nightmare is now ended, and we now have legal clarity. The institutional interests come next. Serious interests, I mean. We are discussing Bitwise 21 shares, Franklin Templeton, Grayscale, and Canary Capital. All of them have submitted applications. When you consider the size of this list and the fact that the market is maturing to XRP futures, which were introduced back in May, it is clear that we are receiving the controlled market development that we want. Business analysts have increased the chances of the XRP ETF being approved to 85% for 2025. Additionally, we anticipate that decisions will decline between Q3 and Q4. Oh man, when this puppy is approved, institutional funds will start to stream in like a waterfall, causing liquidity to soar, prices to become much more stable, and your grandma to be able to purchase XRP through her usual old broker. The worst part is that pricing targets of $60 by 2030 are being floated. What do you know? When you boil it down, that's not even moonshot territory. Here we have a good 5-year runway. Why not then? To be honest though, what's really exciting me is seeing XRP grow into this incredible investment. It's similar to witnessing the quiet student in the class turn into the most popular person there. You're either bleeding Ethereum blue, riding or dying Bitcoin, or you have some strange animosity against XRP if you're still ignoring it at this point. Pick your poison, but don't pass judgment. My main concern though is what BlackRock is working on behind closed doors, since practically everyone is now putting their hand in the XRP ETF ring. In fact, Trump's Truth Social joined the fray in July by submitting their own crypto blue chip ETF application. Solana, Crow, Ethereum, Bitcoin, and XRP all neatly packaged. Furthermore, it is no longer solely an American party. SBI Holdings is determined to introduce the first Bitcoin XRP ETF directly to the Tokyo Stock Exchange in Japan. Baby, this train is traveling all over the world. Hold on though, as they still need that FSA approval. The announcement of the entire situation on the 6th was quite significant. And let me tell you, SBI is completely smitten with XRP and Ripple. This is where BlackRock comes into play. This gem was dropped by Nate Goroshi. Yes, I believe BlackRock waited for everything to settle before submitting their application for the iShares XRP ETF. If I'm completely mistaken, call me out. His opinion? Look, they have no reason whatsoever to disregard any cryptocurrency other than Bitcoin and Ethereum. What do they intend to convey? That those two alone will never be valuable. That's such a daring position. And man, it's obvious if I were sitting in BlackRock's position now and examining the numbers. My Ethereum and Bitcoin ETFs are already loaded and locked. With gains of 91%, Bitcoin is destroying it. Ethereum is currently trading at around 65% for the year. On the other hand, XRP is now holding the third position in the cryptocurrency market with an astounding 46% rise. I see dollar signs everywhere if I'm BlackRock. This is extremely marketable, which means it might be a hugely profitable move. I completely agree with Nate's reasoning in this case. However, in a narrative twist, BlackRock abruptly states that there are currently no plans for a spot XRP or even Solana ETF. What did Nate say? They'll look back on this action and say, oh oops, we'll see who's right. Thus, with this formal declaration, BlackRock makes a strong debut. They now have ETFs for Ethereum and Bitcoin, but they have no intentions for XRP or Solana ETFs. We're not currently filing for XRP or Solana ETFs. Their spokesman made plain to the block on Friday. How much do I really think this is true? About as much as I trust my GPS when it indicates that this is the 7th time I'm recalculating. Almost nothing. Here's why I believe they are manipulating us. There is a history of these guys saying one thing and doing completely differently. I have little doubt that they already have plans for the Solana and Spot XRP ETFs. Simply put, they're not yet prepared to reveal their cards. This is straight out of the BlackRock playbook. Do you recall the time when they were widely disparaging Bitcoin? Bitcoin is worthless, it's useless. This digital crap is a waste of money. Then what? They say, hey, we want a Bitcoin ETF when 2022 arrives. The same is true with tokenization. They roasted cryptocurrency for years. Then suddenly they are the strongest supporters of converting everything into tokens. I therefore instinctively assume that BlackRock is planning the exact opposite when they tell us something. They're probably already working on the XRP ETF in the background. Consider it from their point of view. Simply put, they are in the business of making money. The XRP ETF is essentially a waiting machine for money. They left that money on the table, but why? Let's take a moment to rationally dissect this. First, we simply reviewed the extensive list of businesses that have already applied for XRP ETFs. Everyone seems to be vying for a spot in queue, but this is just crazy. Additionally, there is a long list of businesses that wish to have XRP in their treasury reserves. Take a look at this. Here we're dealing with demand of about $1 billion. Not just ordinary people are purchasing XRP on their phones. It's institutional funds. Retailers and enterprise-level players are going crazy about this. My head is screaming that we should board this train immediately if I were sitting in an asset management office right now and looking at these figures. The only way to profit from this crazy demand is to invest in an exchange-traded fund, ETF. The thing about BlackRock is this. They are undoubtedly not foolish, and they will not reveal their true intentions to us. If they can keep everyone guessing while they quietly sort things out, why would they tip their hand? My prediction is that BlackRock will release an XRP ETF sometime in the coming month. All they're looking for is the ideal opportunity to strike. Given that Ethereum is starting to heat up again, I'm predicting that it will take no more than 1 to 3 months before this ETF drops. Although it has already smashed a 400% plus run in the last year, XRP is about to have its moment. This next wave will cost at least $5 or $6. It goes far higher than that, in my opinion. The clever part comes after. BlackRock will intervene with their ETF precisely when XRP does start to take off. Why? Since the marketing will take care of itself. Since XRP is being discussed in the media on a daily basis, they won't have to spend any money on advertisements. Free PR on steroids, if you will. This is where things start